Heart disease is the number one killer in developed countries. How to actually have heart wellness. Beans, chickpeas, lentils, or fermented foods. Kind of start off by talking a little bit about heart disease, about heart health and how to actually have heart wellness. Now, heart disease is the number one killer in developed countries. And in fact, last year in America, heart disease killed twice the number of people that COVID did. So this is, I know we have all this attention to our infectious diseases and COVID and pandemic, but heart disease is really, far outweighs that. So we really need to be able to take good care of it. So it's a leading cause of death in the United States. It's a number one cause of women, by the way. Many women actually are thinking about breast cancer being an important thing to prevent. I can tell you heart disease trumps that. It's so much more important. And so there's some surprising new research that shows that our gut health can help protect our body by lowering cholesterol. So this is what I talked about in television. The first thing we need to do to protect our heart health is to really watch our blood cholesterol. And this is from a test that we get, our lipid test. When we go to our annual doctor's visits, they do measure our lipid profile. Well, it turns out that high fiber foods that protect our gut health, like beans, chickpeas, lentils, or fermented foods like yogurt and sauerkraut and kimchi, feed our gut bacteria, and our gut bacteria release these metabolites, these small chemicals, when we feed the gut these kinds of foods, especially fiber, prebiotic foods. And these little particles that the microbiome, our gut bacteria release, actually helps to lower our bad cholesterol and help us have more good cholesterol. So this is actually a really important thing. If we feed our gut bacteria well, they pay us back by helping us manage our lipids, our blood cholesterol. Second thing that I've been working on is how to watch your blood pressure. So high blood pressure is a silent killer. It's one of the top causes for heart disease, including stroke. And one of the things is that, I'm sure many of you know about high blood pressure. Some of you may be taking high blood pressure medicines, but one of the easiest ways to control high blood pressure is to watch the amount of sodium that we actually have in our food. So cutting down on your sodium, like salted chips, savory snacks, processed foods can often have a lot of sodium. Soup, canned soup, which I grew up on canned soup. If you go back and look at the can now, like a single can of soup can have 1,000 grams of sodium, which is just about all the salt that you need in a whole day. So in a single can of soup. And so going for low sodium and watching out sodium in your food, cutting it down or out is actually a really helpful thing. However, here is something really cool. Research in food as medicine is showing that there are some foods that you can eat to help you lower your blood pressure more naturally. Beets and spinach both grow in the ground, and they contain a lot of nitrogen from the soil. And that nitrogen, when we chew our beets or spinach, chew, there is a gut bacteria that's in our tongue, microbiome in our tongue. Our mouth actually is part of the gut. And when we're chewing, the bacteria in our tongue naturally digests the nitrogen from the beets and spinach, and it converts it into a form that when we swallow it, it gets absorbed into our bloodstream as nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is a natural substance that dilates our blood vessels, lowers our blood pressure. And so beets and spinach are a natural way. Beet juice can do the same thing to lower blood pressure. Here's something really cool to know. If you lower your systolic blood pressure comes in two numbers, the top number and the bottom. Top number is called systolic. 120/80 is a normal blood pressure. If you lower your top number, by 1 point, so 140 to 139 or 130 to 129, 1 point lowers your risk of having a stroke by 5%. So even small changes can have big benefits later on down the way. And again, you can use food to actually get there. So it's really quite amazing. And of course, the other thing to watch out for heart disease is blood sugar, because although sugar is really important in our body, even for our brain, like all our organs and cells need a little bit of sugar. When you add a lot of added sugar, one of the things that does is it overtaxes your body, and it's linked to diabetes and obesity. And lots of sugar can actually damage the lining of our blood vessels. So one of the things that I always say is that, cut down or cut out soda, which is a huge source of added sugar. And if you like candies or cakes, really cut them down, eat them in moderation if you're a sweet tooth. And that's different, by the way, than eating healthy amounts of natural sugars in fruits and vegetables, because you're getting a lot of other things along with those fruits and vegetables: fiber, phytochemicals, polyphenols, and you get some natural sugar as well. But when you have candies or cakes or soda, you're really getting a gigantic load, a gargantuan load of sugar and bolus and not much else. So cut those down, cut those out. It's better for you, lowers your risk of diabetes and obesity. And by the way, your gut bacteria will thank you too, because high amounts of sugar also damage our gut bacteria.